Let us start with the chapter 1. Chapter is typical configuration of computer system. So, in this chapter, you are going to learn what you have learned in last year, the revision of block diagram of computers, and along with that, you are going to learn some technical definitions, technical parts or hardware of computer system. Now, in last year, we have started with a definition of computer. So, what is a computer? Computer is nothing but it is an electronic device. It performs calculations based on instructions given. That is the definition what you have learned last year. Now, along with that, we have learned few definitions like hardware. Hardware. What is hardware? The physical components of a computer system or physical parts of your computer is called hardware. And software. What is the software? Software is nothing but it is a set of instructions or programs and also we have to learn one more word is called users. What are users? Users are the one who communicate with computer system. So these are the three definitions we have learned last year. Along with the definition of computer, electronic device, it performs calculations based on instructions given. And hardware, the physical component or parts of computer is hardware. Software is nothing but a set of instructions or programs. And users, who are called users? One who use computer, they are nothing but programmers are called users. And what do they use computer for? Communication. So one who communicate with the computer system are called users. And along with that, you also learned in first year PUC how computer works. And this is we have explained with a block diagram of computers. How do we represent computers? We represent, this is nothing but block diagram of computer system, and here this is your input device or input unit, and here is output unit or output device, and this is CPU. CPU, as all of you know that it is divided into three parts. One is memory, second part is called CU is called control unit, and next part is called ALU, it is arithmetic and logic unit, and these we are connecting like this, and this indicates, this arrow mark in this diagram indicates flow of data or flow of instructions between input devices or CPU or on output devices. So this we represent computer diagrammatically. So this is block diagram of computer. So in this block diagram, first we talk about data, and this is data, and after data and output device you can see information. So what is data? Data is a raw fact, or before processing it is data. And what is information? The information is nothing but after processing you will get information. So this is nothing but data processing cycle. So now let us see how computer works. The data what you are going to enter, it goes to CPU through input devices, or we are entering data or instructions to the computer through input device. So from the input device it goes to the first all the instructions or data, it goes to memory, and from memory it goes to ALU for calculations. It goes to ALU for calculations, and once the processing or calculation is done, completed, again data along with the result or information goes back to the memory. Then after that it goes to the output device. So all this is happening because of control unit. This is the unit is going to control, or it's going to send signals to different parts of computer. For example, to accept the data from the input device and to display the data on the monitor or output device. Again, to store data or information in the memory, and from memory it goes to ALU, again back to memory. So all these transfer of data between different parts of CPU or different parts of computer is controlled by control unit. So this is how computer works. It takes the data and everything will have process, it takes place inside the CPU, and result we can see or displayed on the monitor or output device. And example for input device, you already have learned it, keyboard or mouse. And output device, you can see a monitor or printer. So this is the explanation of how computer works. We are explained with the help of block diagram of computer. So in last year you have learned the definition of computer. Now after this we are going to learn from here onwards some technical parts or technical terms which are related to computer hardware. Or basically what you have learned theoretically at this diagram. Now we are going to learn some definitions, or we are going to see different parts inside CPU. Next, we are going to continue with some technical terms. Our first one is motherboard. What is a motherboard? See, all of you have used computers so far, and now we have learned different parts of computer: input device, output device, and CPU. Have you got any chance or have you seen by opening the CPU of your computer? So once if you open the CPU of your computer, or we say once you open the cabinet, inside this we can see some hardware components. So inside the CPU you can see the main component is nothing but motherboard. This motherboard, it is the main circuit board. Motherboard is a main circuit board. It is also called as PCB. It is printed circuit board. Printed circuit board. So once inside the CPU, the main component is motherboard. It is a main circuit board, and it is nothing but a PCB. PCB stands for printed circuit board. So on top of this, over this motherboard, many electrical and electronic components are mounted on top of this PCB. So this forms a motherboard. So what is a motherboard? Motherboard is a physical component, is a hardware. It is a PCB, it is a printed circuit board, and many electrical and electronic components are mounted on top of this on top of this motherboard. And here, suppose if I say electrical electronic devices, a part hardware like processor, chipset, and your ROM, these are few of the parts are mounted on the motherboard. So this is your motherboard, and this is called the main, and all communication will take place within this motherboard. All processing what you have learned so far is computer processing. It takes place inside the CPU inside the motherboard. So motherboard is a place where all electrical and electronic components are mounted on it, and it is called as brain of the computer, or sometimes it is referred as CPU. CPU. So CPU or motherboard, it is the main component of your computer system. Now let us see what are the characteristics of motherboard. Motherboard is characterized by form factor, chipset, and processor socket. This motherboard is characterized by form factor, chipset, as well as processor socket. So what is a form factor? This form factor refers to the dimension, size, and electronic components on the motherboard. So this form factor refers to the dimension, size, as well as shape of the motherboard, and also the different electronic components which are going to mount on the motherboard. So this is form factor. Next we talk about chipset. What is a chipset? Chipset is nothing but it is a set of chips. Chips are nothing but your ICs. See, you have learned in last year under generation of computers, and under generation of computer, third generation of computer, they were using ICs as main electronic component. So this is nothing but ICs or chipset, or it is nothing but a group of chips or group of ICs forms a chipset. So this is going to play a very important role on the motherboard. This is chipset. And next we talk about processor socket. What is the processor socket? Processor is nothing but, again, it is, for example, microprocessor. You know what is a microprocessor. Microprocessor is an important and integral part of your computer system. So this microprocessor is going to mount or is going to place on the processor socket. So what is a socket? Processor socket is a place, or it is a place or in openings where this processor are mounted on it. So this These are the three characteristics of motherboard. One is form factor, chipset, processor socket. So form factor, it refers to, it defines the dimension, size or shape and different electronic components which are going to mount on the motherboard. And chipset is a set of chips, a group of chips which are going to be placed on the motherboard. And processor socket is nothing but it is a place or an opening where microprocessor, an important component or integral part of computer system, is going to place or mount on this processor socket. So next concept is, what are the types of motherboard? Next we will see what are different types of motherboard. First type of motherboard is XT motherboard. XT motherboard. Next one is AT motherboard. Baby AT motherboard. And ATX motherboard. There are four types of motherboard we have listed out here. One is XT motherboard, AT motherboard, baby AT motherboard and ATX motherboard. So here in this, all these are, we are differentiating with the different hardware components or development in the field of information technology. So here XT motherboard